Hello again on behalf of the Mindalia TV team. Welcome to this new encounter. Today we are being joined by Dalila Saric, and she is joining us in this space that has been called Awakening and Self-Realization. Dalila Saric is a published author, she is a photographer, and she's a speaker. She's an expert in the field of spiritual growth, emotional intelligence. Dalila, let's not delay this any further. Let's welcome you right now to my Mindalia TV cameras. How are you doing today?
Fine. I'm very happy to share with you all my insight and my knowledge acquired through experiences in life also. We are in a great university of life. We are here in an earth school of love. No, and what I want to speak today is about awakening. What is awakening? How can we describe it? Because it's an experience, and each person experiences in a very particular way. So, what do I have to expect of awakening, and how is it that it affects my whole life? Well, love is an energy, and it can't be contained nor described. It must be lived, and it must be experienced. And this energy abounds in all nature, in all creatures. And once we are conscious that we are love, we will not search love through any other experience than our innermost self. And what happens is that in that divine magnetic power of love, we start attracting to our life all experiences we need for our spiritual growth. So whatever we experience, we must receive it with love, because nothing that happens to us hasn't been attracted by our intellect, our thoughts, because we need them as experiences for our individual growth. So what happens when we become magnetic, a magnetic power of attraction for those persons, circumstances we need to grow? They will appear. We are not going to search them. They will appear. And what happens? Once they appear, what they bring to our life are experiences we need for our evolution. So what happens? Sometimes these experiences are very we are pleasant, but sometimes they are not so pleasant. But those experiences that aren't pleasant are the best experiences we need to grow. And what happens when we understand that love is an energy, a universal energy, and that is present in all creation, harmonizing, uniting, and establishing sacred bonds in every aspect of life, we become an awakened soul. And what happens? We don't search love in a partner, from our parents, from our friends. We have love to give out. So we are plenty. We feel self-realized in love. And we become conscious that we are one with our divinity. We are one with God. And the swaying of human love disappears upon the purity of divine love, because we are not dependent upon the love of creatures. We are dependent upon the love of God. And human hearts, which abide in the one, become awakened or illuminated when we feel this, how can I explain it, of this bliss we have inside. So this bliss makes us feel fulfilled. We don't need nothing else than divine love. Once divine love is awakened in our hearts, we are unable to wound any other heart. We are not going to feel like separated, because there's a phase in our evolution that we feel unlovable, separated, denied, whatever. But once divine love is awakened in our hearts, what happens? We feel self-fulfilled. We feel that we are one with every creature and with every heart. And we are not going to harm any creature or any heart because it's impossible. In love, all things are possible because we love everything and everybody. Many people say, for example, in relationships, we are infatuated, and what happens? One day we say, I love you, and when something happens, we hate you. And that's human love. Human love is prone to make mistakes or to make choices that are not what we thought was love for us. So that's the trial and error every human has to pass. Because when we attract certain partners to our life, what do? We learn through the process to love in spite of the foibles of the other, and we see the innocence in the other. And that's true love, conscious love. When we still can see the divinity in the other, and we just minimize all the things that we don't like about that person. Those who have encountered divine love inside of themselves, we love without expectations, and we know about what compassion really means, because compassion is the highest form of relationship we can have with one another, because when we feel compassion for the other, we feel compassion for ourselves, because we all can make mistakes. When we understand that no one is perfect in our humanness, but we are perfect in our divinity, we don't judge others. We just observe, accept, and that's what we call holding space. What does it mean to hold space for another? To hold space for another means that I can observe my neighbor as myself and love my neighbor as myself without any judgment and accepting him just as he is. That's the best way to relate to one another, because when you hold space, you let the other just be. You don't expect nothing. You don't want to change him. You invite him. If you see something that's gonna make him harm, what do? You invite him to change. You invite him. You don't oblige a person to, or you do not make him somebody who has to do the things because for him to be loved by you. You accept that person. And that's very, very important. When you have true love, there's no falsehood, no prejudice, no creed limitation, because spirituality is above religious creeds. There are no differences between nature and humanity, because we are all part of a human and planetary system in which all forms of life in all levels must be respected. So the basis for true understanding in this, our humanness, is respect for all forms of life. When we respect all forms of life, we are giving all creatures the freedom to be who they are. We do not judge a lion. We do not judge a dog. We do not judge a monkey. We try to observe their lives and we respect their lives. For example, elephants. Elephants are very intelligent creatures. I remember a story about the elephants, that there was one person who lived in Africa and who, in a situation, healed an elephant. And when that person died, the elephants perceived that this person had died and went, like the whole family of elephants, to visit the house of the one who was dying, because they were so grateful for having saved the mother elephant of those family of elephants. So it's incredible because they sense people. We see stories where lions become like little kittens when they are saved. So what happens? We all are connected with divine love, and divine love has no language. It's universal. We don't need to know a specific language or creed or whatever. Divine love is universal, and we are one whole family. That is what happens when people become fanatic of a creed or a religion organization. What happens? In name of religion, many crimes have been committed. And now we are in a phase of a revolution that we must recognize that we are one whole family, that whatever we do in love is, we must respect whatever things are done in name of love, because love always returns to love. And whatever we think is a mistake, it is not a mistake. It's an experience we must live to be in wholeness and to evolve. Because if we didn't make mistakes, we thought we had this feeling that we are like, I am better than you because I don't make mistakes. No, we all make mistakes, me included. So we all make mistakes to maintain our humbleness. Must be humble. Always we must be humble, because life, with its twists and turns, we don't know what happens tomorrow. Today we may have a lot of money, tomorrow we may have not a penny in the bank. But we must be always thankful for the experiences, because the experiences make us better persons. And as long as we feel connected with ourselves, with our beingness, we are going to be who we really are. And we are going to feel very like comfortable with ourselves. We are not going to have masks nor be a fake person. And we are going to bring others to this feeling, because when a person is happy, we don't judge anybody. A person who is happy doesn't make harm to anybody. A person who is happy is filled with the love of God. And the love of God can never harm any form of life. So whatever belief we have that there is a God there ready to harm us and send us to hell because we have sinned, that's not what we should ever think. God is pure love. And whoever loves God, all fears disappear. We cannot fear God. We must honor God in our own bodies, respect ourselves. Why? Because we are temples of the Holy Spirit, and we are temples of the love of God. So having respect for ourselves, what are we going to do? We are not going to harm ourselves with drugs, with sexual intercourse, illicit sex. We are not going to harm ourselves with drugs, with smoking, with beverages, alcoholic beverages that are in excess. So we are going to protect ourselves from all the distractions of the world, because we are going to enjoy life. We are going to celebrate life. We are going to bring the whole family together to enjoy and to feel very thankful for the only moment we are here alive. We are present. We are alive. That's enough to live in gratitude, because we have been born to experience life, but to experience life to its fullest, not to experience life fearing life. We are here to experience life. And if we feel we are wrong because we are not good enough, because somebody has not loved the way we thought he or she should love us, we are mistaken, because the only one who really loves you and has loved you because he has created you is God. And God loves you just the way you are. There are a lot of beautiful songs about I love you just the way you are, because we need to love ourselves just the way we are, with all our mistakes, with all the things we have lived. It's our personal story, and we create our story. We are the stars of our movies, and we should make this star really, really, really shine. I am very glad that I can explain this in simple words, because life should be simple. To enjoy life, we must be simple. We do not need luxury to enjoy life. We need good friends. We need good food. We need to make sports. We need to enjoy life because we have been born to enjoy life. And if you are believing that you came here to suffer, that's something you should change in your mind, because you have been born here to enjoy life, to share life, and to share who you are, because we each one of us is unique. There is not going to be another human being like yourself. So please share your uniqueness and shine with your own light. I am very honored.
Thank you,
to
Dalila. We are so
Yeah,
happy that you're sharing this information with us. Do you want to start with some questions?
yes, I can start with them some questions, whatever they want to ask.
Actually, well, the first question is going to be asked by me. And you were talking about the awakening, and it's something that I find completely interesting. Is awakening is that like a one size fits all, or awakening is a process or an event that can happen to the individuals that, you know, in many different ways, as many awakenings as individuals we're gonna find on earth?
And I what I have experienced in my life, that we have like mini awakenings. We are like starting to see the light, and then it just shines a little bit and then disappears. It's like God playing with us hide and seek. Sometimes we see a little bit of light, and sometimes we are like in darkness, no? But what happens? This experience is different, because some people say that, no, I have to meditate for 30 years, or I have to make this discipline, or if you are a drunken man, or you are a prostitute, you will never awaken. No, God makes us awaken when he knows we are prepared for it. And sometimes it's like a flash, no? It's wow, you feel whole for an instant, and then you said, wow, what is this? What happened to me? Or for example, you haven't met a friend for many years, and suddenly you meet her and you see, wow, she's shining, she's glowing. What has happened to her? Well, she is now in contact with her own or his own divinity, and her life changes, because you are not going to be the same. You are not going to be the same. Everything changes. Your family life changes, your job changes, the place you live maybe can change also, because you have a new life. It's what Jesus told us about a second birth. Being birth, it's a birth in spirit and truth. So when we discover the truth of ourselves, of our true identity, that's awakening.
Little new lives that come to us, and it can come as often as maybe we allow, or as often as our path requires that light to be shed upon us. We have another question here, Dalila. Before we do that question, I actually want to tell to the people watching or hearing us that we are doing these transmissions simultaneously through YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, Von Life, and VK. We are reading you. I am right here. I have all the platforms open. So whenever, at any point, if you feel like you want to comment or make a question, we are happy to bring you in. From Colombia, Daniela Salazar is asking, I feel that sometimes I worry a lot for the absence of money. This is not helping me to feel happy and enjoy life at the fullest. What do you recommend to do in this situation?
Sometimes the energy of money usually happens. Usually when there's a lack of money, there's also a thought of scarcity in our own mind. What happens? Usually there are other emotional blockings in your life that don't make that abundance really alive in your life. And what happens? what I recommend you is to make any therapy in which you can liberate some emotional traumas, because sometimes it's an emotional trauma in your lineage. For example, when there is not a good relationship between yourself and your mother, or your mother and your grandmother, there's something that must be solved and liberated, because prosperity comes from the mother, from the relationship with the mother. And you must heal the relationship with the mother so that abundance flows naturally to your life. And also our own beliefs of scarcity, because the universe is full of abundance.
Thank you, Dalila, for that amazing answer. Let's go ahead and get Blanca's question. She is saying that's absolutely true. I love my son beyond logic, and more than that, I love myself. And I see how wrong I am. Can someone be wrong about loving themselves? I'm not sure if I'm understanding Blanca's question. What do you think?
Yes, I don't understand. We usually when we love ourselves, we are in peace with ourselves, and we can love also our family, whatever. But in this process of evolution, there's a point, a crossroad where you must make a decision, and also understand that life is more than family life. That the life you must recognize in the universe is your relationship with yourself and with the whole universal family. Because if you only center your life in your little world, that's your family, you are losing that glorious amount of expanding yourself as a universal creature. When we remain in our little world, we don't see that there's a whole world to explore, that we call it a relationship with the expansion of consciousness that makes us conscious of our limitless the identity in our divinity. Because when we are really in contact with our God self, there are no limitations. And we also expand in a way that's limitless, and we become really creative beings, that we need to explore our inner talents and offer them for the benefit of all humanity.
And if you allow me, there's this idea that I have, and I may be wrong. You're the expert, but I kind of feel that when we say or we repeat that our children are our world and our whole happiness, it's kind of a burden for them as well. Kind of a burden that they feel that our life depends on them, and whenever they need to fly, whenever they need to go move on and do whatever they came to do with their lives, it could feel like we are like the heavy backpack in the shoulders, right?
That's that we what we must work then is attachment, because usually when we are not attached to family, I remember when masters told me, an advice he gave me is, once your children are grown-ups, you should let them fly alone. And you can be there because you are still alive to help them whatever happens, but they must have their own experiences. Because if you live through their lives, you are not letting them grow. And part of life is to become non-attached. Non-attached makes life flow. With attachment, we really don't live our children live their own lives.
Thank you, Dalila. Lupita Garcia, she is asking us from the US, from the United States. I feel grateful every day, but I don't understand why sometimes I'm afraid about my children, 13 and 15. Can you give me an advice?
Well, it's normal to have those fears. We all have fears about the uncertainty and how the world is now today. But one must trust that if one has given a good moral, a good values inside our house, and we have been a good example. I have children now that are 40 years old, and they're fabulous because they learn through experience and through example, not by words, my example of life. And once you give your example of life, you shouldn't be afraid, because children do what they see, not what you tell them. If they see you are good parents, they are going to follow your example, and they are going to honor you always. And that's my experience.
It's funny how our children keep coming into the conversation, right? The next question that actually I have is I wanted to bring when you talk about self-love, it's kind of a challenge nowadays to have a healthy relationship with ourselves when we are constantly being fed with information of beauty standards. How is beauty supposed to look? How is success supposed to look? What can we do in order to create our own version of beauty, our own version of success?
Well, I have experienced a very painful experience, and I'm going to tell you. When I was about 29 years old, when I had 29 years old, I had a problem that my beauty really was spoiled. My beauty was spoiled because I had a paralysis, and really my world changed, because I felt like I always had been appreciated, admired, and how lovely you are, and from one day to another, I was not myself anymore. So I started to go inside, and I started to go inside in such with such a power that I never mind about my beauty anymore. I never mind, and nobody ever minded either. So whomever met me knew the true Dalila, and gradually, without I myself noticing it, my beauty, my outer beauty returned. So when you put all your attention in your inner beauty, it's incredible how everything changes, even your outer aspect. So what I always recommend is put all your attention inside, and the outer will reflect what you have inside, and it offers you miracles. And I believe that was a miracle, because I remember I was not so minimized by what happened, but I remember my eldest daughter, my eldest sister. She was very concerned, and she offered me surgery and whatever to make me return to whom I was. But I told her, no, I think that I'm going to find a way. Maybe it's going to take a while, but about 4 or 5 months after this happened, I found the love of my life, and he accepted me. He accepted me with my uh, my bad face, no, because it was my face that was in trouble, and I felt so loved that I forgot. I forgot that I had that problem, and in about 10 years later, they discovered a way to make me return to my uh, to my natural figure. So I was so thankful for the love, because I returned to the love of myself, and for my restoration. So I am a new Dalila.
How pretty is it that someone is actually able to be aware of its own inner beauty? We are silenced, or we are blind to our own, capabilities, our own richness within. Let's continue. The next question, it's being made by Moix. How do I become independent from my parents when I have lived with them my whole life? I fear of doing new things. Dalila.
What age? What age does he have? You know what age?
It's not telling us yet. Let's, if you want, we are going to
No,
ask
because
Moix.
sometimes, well, if he says all my life, maybe he hasn't ever lived outside the family's life, outside the family's house.
It seems
so
that.
what Yeah, so what happens? We all need. I remember my eldest daughter. She had a lot of conflict with my ex-husband, because once I was like out of the life of the family life, whatever he had, grudges he had against me, he started to become violent
Dalila,
with
let
my.
me interrupt you really quick. Moix is telling us 26.
Okay, no, it's good age to start. It's a good age to start. So what happens? Yeah, I'm going to bring this example because I told my daughter to leave that house, who's just at that age, to leave the house and to go outside of the country to study the masters. And when she returned independent. She returned self-confident, and it was a great lesson for his parent that tried to always act like against women. No, so it was a great evolution for my ex and for my daughter. So I always recommend to be brave and to start a new life, even by little decisions, maybe, and try maybe to live differently, more simple, but independent. Because independence gives you freedom. And the only way to acquire freedom, real freedom from the parents, is to be financially free. Because if you are financially free, you can start a new life. And once you have this protection of your parents, you don't grow. You don't grow. You don't have the freedom to experience life, to have the friends you like. I remember when I had to return to my mother's house when I was sick. I couldn't be with my friends because my mother, she was old. She had a lot of diseases, so she wanted to be in quietness, and I wanted to bring people to laugh with me, to celebrate life, and I felt like I couldn't live my privacy. So once I started to become financially independent, my life usually changed. It changed a lot because I was financially independent, and also my self-esteem, because I felt that I could uh, be a self independent person, and I didn't depend upon my family, nor my ex-husband also, because it was very important. I really am grateful for life for this decision I made.
Thank you, Dalila. Let's continue with the next question. This is being made by Paz Marshall. Paz Marshall is our friend from the United States. She is writing through Facebook. My dreams have always been my power, the guide in my life in general. For several months, I have not been able to remember them. I have already done everything to get my power back, but I just remember part of them. And trying to translate them doesn't make sense. What can I do to be able to remember my dreams again?
Well, first of all, we all need to go inside. We need some techniques, like, for example, meditation, some healing, also some energy healing. Maybe you can um, do some energy healing, because sometimes, uh, especially nowadays, that we are so like in a very critical situation, where dreams are being shattered for everybody, not for only for yourselves. We all, our dreams are being shattered. I had a very beautiful plan for this year, and nothing has been done. Everything has been paralyzed, and we all are feeling this pressure. We all are feeling like we can't. We are like enslaved to the system, and we have to be patient. We have to be patient with ourselves, and I recommend you to have some energy healing and to practice some meditation techniques, so as to feel this inspiration from above, so that you can take the good decisions you ought to make to start dreaming again. Because if intuition and the knowledge of the heart and the wisdom of the heart is like uh, dull now, because we don't have we feel hopeless, we feel afraid of the future, that are blocks that are really not letting us feel enthusiastic towards the future. So what you must do is some energy healing and some meditation, and let things happen also, because we are all being exposed to a lot of suffering now, and it's collective. No, we cannot ignore what happens. We are part of the collective also.
Thank you again, Dalila. Let's go with Daniela Salazar's question. She's writing from Colombia. What can I do if my mom does not want me to leave her? She expects me to stay with her, even though I have a boyfriend and I'm planning to live with him. I am 29. How wonderful is it that this conversation turned into parent-children relationship? I love it.
We are all connected. Love is in the air. Well, what happens is you should have the courage to say what you really want in your life. You are a grown-up. You are not a child. You have the power inside, and whatever decision you make, the universe is going to help you. So don't be afraid to make changes. We need change, and we need honest ability to make the changes. And every change is also a little risk, and we are afraid of making change. We are afraid of leaving our comfort zone. It's normal, it's human. But if we don't live our comfort zone, we don't grow. And you should grow. We all are here to evolve. And you cannot evolve if you don't leave your house, because you are a grown-up and you must honor your feelings. And even though the experience may not be what you expect, it is always going to be an experience that is going to make you grow and make really a good transformation in your life. I started my life very early. I married even when I was still in the university, but the birth of my first daughter changed my life, because I became so responsible and so compromised with my commitment to being a good mother that it really changed. And we mature a lot. I see my daughter, she's now 40 and she hasn't been married, and her life is totally different. She's having the first breakthrough now at 40. I had it at 20. So I had 20 years in advance of my maturity, my emotional maturity. And that is what it is. Once you get compromised in love, you have commitments, you grow up very, very fast. And that's why at my age, I thank God, I am a very independent woman. I am mature, emotionally mature, and I have great love experiences, incredible love experiences. I have never, ever thought I would be experiencing and enjoying also, because I enjoy it fully, because I feel a fully realized woman.
Dalila, wow. I'm so grateful that we have you. And if we go a little bit back to the title of this conversation, Awakening and Self-Realization, I think that if we go back in the tracks of what we've been talking, tiny awakenings happen throughout our lives, tiny self-realizations as we enter in new stages, as we get into new relationships, as if it's with our parents, when we leave the nest, when we get married, or when we decide to join a life with someone else.
And when we return back home, because we need shelter.
And we're going back home at a certain point, right?
and we shouldn't be shameful, nor have guilt complexes, because we need shelter sometimes. We need good friends, those that are for life. We need our parents if they are alive. They are not going to leave us unprotected. So we need shelter, and we shouldn't be ashamed. We shouldn't be ashamed to return home. We shouldn't be ashamed we made mistakes, because we all learn from them. And there's a lot, what you made, like the story you told me lately, when somebody knows you are going to go to really shatter yourself, crash, but you still leave your children to crash, because when they crash, they open their hearts to more love, and they know exactly what they want after that crash. You are not going to be mistreated anymore in your life. That's what happened to me. Then I respected myself, respected my dreams, respected everything I did. So I didn't accept nothing from anybody but myself. And that made me glorious because I trusted God in me, my God self. And my God self is all powerful. And whatever I dream is going to come true because I believe in God, in my God self, in my divinity. And my divinity is full of love. So why can I search a human love? If I can enjoy it because the other one is so full of love of God, okay, too full of love of God is really, really powerful. But if I'm full of the love of God and the other one is, oh, I am not lovable, then you are like a little ant. You are not a little ant. You are a lion.
We allow ourselves to flow through the current, although we know there's a rug, right in front of us, and that's gonna crack us open. And when that crack happens, that's self-realization. That is awakening, right?
The best thing that could happen is you crack open when you're shattered. When you're shattered and when you feel that you're human like everybody else, you are not superior. You are a creature of God like everybody else. So that's a great thing that we feel together in our humanness. We feel we are humbled. Great experiences, what makes of us humble. Humbleness comes about, compassion, true love, empathy, all the best that can come from a thing that is in that moment really a crush.
And when you're cracked open, there is little to none space for arrogance.
That's right. But there's going to be people that are going to hug you. People that are going to hug you and say, I've been there. No matter what, I love you still.
Yes, as we reach the end of this conversation, Dalila, I want to thank you. We've been joined today by people from Peru, from Argentina, Colombia, United States. And before we leave, of course, we want to give you a minute for you to say or to give us your final thoughts.
Yes, I am very thankful for this opportunity. Whenever you need a place to share, that's a place in the heart of another human being, here's my heart to hear you, to get the best out of you, because we are little in humanness, but great in our divinity, and we are jewels. We are jewels of God. We are precious souls. Never forget that. Everybody loves you and God the most.
Dalila, again, thank you. Thank you for sharing this time, your heart, with the Mindalia TV community. We're super grateful that you decided to give us this hour. And to whomever is watching and hearing us today, thank you again. We've been giving this transmission simultaneously through YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, Von Life, VK. We've been reading you. We've been taking your questions and your comments. We are very grateful. But before saying goodbye, we want to, of course, remind you about Mindalia. Who is Mindalia? We're a community. We're a non-profit organization. And you can collaborate with us by liking our content, by subscribing to our channels, or following us in our social media. You can leave us a positive comment. Así no entiendas, even if you don't understand what we've been talking today, we're crossing and we're talking in English because we wanted to share what we are sharing on a daily basis in Spanish. We want to share a little bit in English to, for those who can understand, and in order to get farther and bigger, of course. You can share this content with someone that you know that can like or that may benefit of what we have been discussing here today. And of course, if you want, you can donate, and in order to do that, you can go to our website www.mindalia.com. When you do that, you are helping us reach as much people in the planet as possible. You're helping us get farther in the planet. And you are helping us also create more spaces like the one we had today, like the conversation with Dalila Saric. We're sending you a very big hug from our heart with a lot of gratitude, of course. And we're saying goodbye until a next Mindalia live streaming. See you soon.